We were, in our previous segment, discussing Joe Waters. He's an old classmate of mine from the University of South Dakota. He reminded me a lot of my son, but I got to stop talking about me and get on to Joe Waters. I believe he's Oglala Lakota. What it says here? Yes, it does. And we were looking at his poem To the Girl Who Painted Roaches. Now we're going to go on to Zoo World. Let's jump on right into it. Zoo World. I have found myself being the minority again, as people in shopping malls and down the school halls look at me like I'm a zoo. And what will I do but play a stereotype that fits their perceptions of what they think is an Indian? I grow tired of their zebra thoughts because it is not always so black and white, sometimes chameleon, sometimes ape-like, because every person that's not Caucasian is caged into some type of ignorant version of what we once were. I am not seen as my own person, as someone puts me into another category, asking, are you Indian, Mexican, or Asian? Check your mark here. It's a zoo out there. It's a zoo in here. Because I am seen as some loon, drunken baboon, and so you will find me swinging in a jungle gym, you have already defined who I am, but still somehow 2 shades away from being a Homo sapien. It's a zoo out there. It's a zoo in here. After all, a monkey is still a monkey, no matter what it wears. And so the Indian puts on a suit, stands upright, and speaks polite. Only then can the white-collar world accept this version of an Indian, while the rest of the savages can just stay on the reservation where the tourists come and look around like people at a zoo. And should we go bananas when the truth is finally peeled away to show the past atrocities? But seesaw, forget it all, as America expects us to live quietly in peace. It's a zoo out there. It's a zoo in here. Love it. Next one, Colossus. It was a soul-heavy generation crushing these symbols of false freedoms that hang over us as we stood in the Aryan shadow of a new Colossus. All the roads lead to the same concrete ideology that the old gods always have to make way for the new ones, and we, the white clay people, look up to the libertas of Mount Rushmore, the barrier put in place to divide and conquer to make way for the systematic slaughter. Their statues, marble white, eyes soulless and blank, how befitting they made it in their god's image, and we carved into the stone inevitable, perishable hieroglyphs that the sun would bleach out, that the rain would wash away, because we knew we'd all go back to that shaken etch-a-sketch that we call Earth. We had no colosseums, no great pyramids, just the sinking mounds that the giants left us. But does that imply our existence is less meaningful? Put on a pedestal, we don't care to be carbon dated, manipulated into theories that deny our place here in the United States, invisible, with liberty and justice for some. Old stones are crushed, bones turned to cement and plaster, but we did not mean to be martyrs in our own places of worship, decimated to make way for modern day culture. Because America was built in a day, so that the whites can say, this is our land, and isn't it colossal, the joke made of my people, that we were somehow less worthy to hold dominion over these lands. Ozymandias, let the decay come and free us. Ooh, love it, love it, love it. There's a whole lot of references there. You guys know this poem, Ozymandias? Look it up. Last one. This one actually doesn't show up on our lesson plan, but I love it. I remember when Joe Waters first read it, I was like, wow, that's some good writing, man. This is when we first met, and he first did a poetry reading way back in early 2000s. Never mind, let's read. Not Chinese. Small towns seem to duplicate themselves as ignorance out ignorance, making a franchise out of my hell. No, I'm not going to steal from your store. I want to yell at the old white lady eyeing me from behind the counter. After all, that's what your taxes are for. And I know I should let karma do its job, but I'm not the kind of Indian anyway. I'm not that kind of Indian anyway. I'm not the one with the feather. I'm the one with the feather, not the dot. Who am I to say what I want to say? I'm just one of those invisible types of minorities. At least that's what I heard. That's what I'm called on network TV. No, ma'am, I'm not Chinese, I tell the white waitress working at the Oriental buffet, but hand me some chopsticks, please, and I'll be on my way. They call me Native American now, because India holds the real Indians. But it turns out that I'm just what people think I am. But what I am to them doesn't make any sense. But no, I'm not Chinese or Mexican Redmond Cross, the Bering Strait type of Homo sapien. But please hand me some chopsticks and I'll play along with these know-it-all pricks. Ooh, I love it, I love it, I love it! Okay, now we're going to shift gears. So yeah, that is my old classmate, and sometimes I call him my son because he's about the same age as my son, looks like my son, but never mind. We're going to go on to Cherie Dimaline, who is Georgian Bay Metis. Let me see if I can find some notes on her because I actually did take notes. This is from her book, which is called The Marrow, Thieves. Let's see if I got a picture of the cover. There it is. It's kind of big, but that's what the book looks like. Cherie Dimaline, who is, I believe she's Métis. It says here, Georgian Bay Metis. And you remember what I told you last time, Métis is sort of the French-Canadian word for mixed, because they have a weird status, the way they count who's an Indian, who's not an Indian up in Canada. We talked about it before. Now, I'm going to read some quotes from this book. I got to tell you what the book's about primarily. If you remember, if you clicked on any of the links I gave you before, you know that this is a dystopian futuristic novel where, because humans have, or I should say the newcomers, have polluted the earth so much that somehow humans, or especially non-native humans, I should say, have lost the ability to dream. And if you know anything about not being able to dream, it kind of messes up your life and you go crazy. But never mind. So they realize the only people left alive who still have dreams are Indians, us natives. And so they started hunting Indians, and the people who are hunting the Indians are called recruiters, and they grab the Indians and take them and bring them to like a concentration camp, otherwise known as a residential school, and they yank out their marrow and give it to the non-natives so that they are able to dream again. Let me read some quotes from this awesome novel. Says here, sometimes you risk everything for a life worth living, even if you're not the one that'll be alive to see it. Sometimes the path in front of you alters. Sometimes it goes through some pretty dark territory. Just make sure it doesn't change the intent of the trip. As long as the intent is good, nothing else matters. So there's one quote. Here's another one. From where we are now, running, looking at reality, from this point in time, it seemed as though the world had suddenly gone mad, poisoning your own drinking water, changing the air so much the earth shook and melted and crumbled, harvesting a race for medicine. How? How could this happen? Were they that much different from us? Would we be like them if we'd had a choice? Were they like us enough to let us live? I didn't want to know what they did, and I didn't really want to know if I'd be capable of doing it. And then switching on, soon they needed too many bodies, and they turned to history to show them how to best keep us warehoused, how to best position the culling. That's when the new residential schools started growing up from the dirt like poisonous brick mushrooms. We go to the schools and they leach the dreams from where our ancestors hid them in the honeycombs of the slushy marrow buried in our bones. And us, well, we join our ancestors, hoping we left enough dreams behind for the next generation to stumble across. Dreams get caught in the webs in your bones. That's where they live, in the marrow, there. Wow, that's lovely. So there's a passage in this book where there's these kids. I guess this might actually be the entire book somebody posted online, but I doubt it. But if you click on the link for the grandmothers who gave me, to the children who gave me hope. Wow. If you click on the link that I provided, you can see Frenchie's Coming To story, and you can see an interview with the author, and suddenly I'm drawing a blank because it's been a long day and I've been fussing at myself. Cherie Dimaline. Right. So, again, what does the title mean, though? A challenge question. What are the new residential schools? Ooh. So here we go. Mitch was smiling so big, his black teeth shone in the soft light of the solar-powered lamp we'd scavenged from someone's shed. Check it out. He held a bag of Doritos between us. A big bag, too. Holy, Mitch, where'd you get that? Actually, it's more pronounced up in Canada. They say, holy, holy, Mitch, where'd you get that? I touched the air-pressurized bag to confirm it was real. My dirty fingers skittered across the shiny surface like skates. It was real. My mouth filled with spit, and a rotten hole in one of my molars yelled its displeasure. In the last house back there, hidden in the top cupboard, like Ma used to do when she didn't want us getting into stuff. Mom had only been gone a few months, so talking about her still stung. My brother popped the bag to cover our hurt. And, like cheese-scented fireworks, that loud release of air and processed dust cheered us up. We were in a treehouse somewhere, on the outer rim of a small city that had long been closed down like a forgotten convenience store. We were a few hours out from southern metropolitan city, which used to be Toronto back when there were still so many cities. They had a unique name instead of a direction. West City, Northeast Metropolis, Southern Township. It was a great treehouse. Some lucky kid must have had a contractor for a father. It was easily 2 stories up from the unmown lawn that had a gabled roof with real shingles. We'd been there for 3 days now, skipping school, hiding out. Before he'd left with the council and we never saw him again, Dad had taught us the best way to hide is to keep moving. But this spring had been damp. It had rained off and on for over a week, and we couldn't resist the dry comfort of the one-room treehouse with built-in benches. Besides, we reasoned, it was high up like a sniper hole, so we could see if anyone was coming for us. It probably started with that first pop of air against metallic plastic, no louder than a champagne cork. I imagined the school truancy officers, recruiters we called them, coming for us, noses to the wind, sunglasses reflecting the row of houses behind which we were nestled in our wooden dream home. And sure enough, by the time we crunched through the first sweet, salty handfuls, they were rounding the house into the backyard. Shh! What? Mitch put the bag down and turned to the window cut into the north wall. Francis, you're going to have to listen to me really carefully. What? I knew it was bad. He never called me Francis. No one but Mom ever did, and then only when I was in trouble. I'd been Frenchy since I could remember. Listen now. He turned away from the window to lock eyes with me. You're going to have to climb out the back window and onto the roof, as low down as you can get. But Mitch, I can't climb out a window. Yes, you can, and you will. You're the best damn climber there is. And then when you're on the roof, you're going to grab a pine tree behind us and climb up into it. Stay as close to the trunk as you can. You have to shimmy into the back part where the shadows are thickest. You go first. I'm going to stop it there because this is such an awesome story. Imagine kids that are hiding out from the recruiters, who are these non-native people who are responsible for rounding up natives, especially native kids, taking them to a boarding school where they extract their bone marrow to give to the non-native people in general, especially the rich ones, so they can continue dreaming so they don't lose their marbles. That's an interesting story. A dystopian novel, isn't it? All right. So we're going to see how we're doing on time here. I bet you already spoke for 17 minutes, didn't I? Yep, 17 minutes and 17 seconds. We're going to knock it off here. And maybe, if we have time, we'll talk about some of these isms. No, better yet, I'm going to save the isms for the next lecture, which will be Thursday. Instead, the last section, I'm going to tell an Indian story. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.